do the first attempt for present cells after n days. This is the week 1 day 3 problem for the July challenge in Leetcode. So let's get started. There are 8 present cells in a row and each cell is either occupied or vacant. Each day whether the cell is occupied or vacant changes according to the following rules. If a cell has two adjacent neighbors, they are both occupied or vacant, both vacant, then the cell becomes occupied. Otherwise it becomes vacant. Note that because the prison is a row, the first cell and the last cell in the row can't have two adjacent neighbors. Okay. We describe the current state of the prison in the following way. Cells of I equal to 1 if the cell is occupied, else 0. Given the initial state of the prison, return the state after n days. Alright, cool. I think I understand it. Alright, so it's not a matrix, which is what I assumed seeing this sample input here. It's just different days. Alright. So this is the initial stage. Both are vacant next to it. So this should what? So this should remain occupied. This should also become occupied. This should become vacant. Alright, yeah, I got the sense of it. That's the idea, okay. And the first and the last cell are always going to be vacant. Alright, cool. So we can definitely do this in order of n square if there are n cells. How many cells are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Alright. Oh, there are 8 prison cells in a row. Okay. So it can be done in 8n because for each cell we'd have to visit it and check it. And in fact, we can even skip the first and the last, so it can be done in 6n. Yeah. We should just set the first and the last as 0 though. But yeah, it can be done in 6n. Alright, cool. So n can be 10 to the power 9. Okay. 6 into 10 to the power 9 might not work. No, it would definitely not work in Python, so we need to think of something else. We probably need to predict the nth position without actually going to it. So if we actually iterate it, then it's easy, but what if we don't do that? We'd have to observe some pattern definitely. So after the first day, this would become 0, and first day on and afterwards, all edges would be 0 and they would always be 0. Now, this 0, 1, 0 would always be like that. I mean, if it's isolated 1 in the middle, then it would remain like that because both the sides are unoccupied. But if that changes, then it would change. Okay. I think it's kind of like XOR, isn't it? Not XOR, I mean, yeah, if it not of XOR, XNOR, I feel. Okay, how can we do it? And then this out becomes occupied. Okay, so we have to keep flipping the bits. I mean, if a pattern repeats, then it's gonna keep repeating, right? So let's see from day one. So day zero can't come again if the ends are either of the ends are one. So we have 1 1 and all zeros on day one. Then it turns to this. 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 How does this happen though? Okay, if both sides are 0, then we do it. Okay. Then it turns to this, then it turns to this, then it turns to this. Oh, okay. So after all this, these two ones got shifted one to the right. Interesting. And now a similar thing is going to happen most likely. And the edges are the only thing that would make a difference. I'm not sure though. Not sure if I can sense a pattern just yet. How can we predict it? It might actually work. I mean, if the constraints are not that tightly set. Let me just try it because brute force seems very simple and I can't think of anything right now, so I'll just show the brute force, and then if that doesn't work out, if Leetcode rejects it, then we'd think of the next thing. Alright? So we have the cells and we have n, so for I in range n, I'm gonna go over it n times. And we set cells of 0 equal to 0, as well as cells of -1 also equal to 0. It's going to set it each time, which is okay. N is always at least 1. Okay. So we also have to put day 0, no? No, we don't have to give day 0. Just have to give that there. So we can just do this once, we don't need to do this each time. N is at least 1, right? So yeah, that would take care of it. Now for all the other ones, so for I, let's just keep this as dash, so it's a variable that we're not going to use. For I in range, so we're going to start from 1 and we're going to go up till, this is 8, so we're going to go up till 7, so that we go to the 6th index, which is the second last one. Now, I mean, just to be sure, I'm just going to add this print statement that we got this right, and also the length of this, just in case. Alright, so for all of these, what I need to do is if cells of I minus 1 sorry, excuse me. If this equal to cells of I plus 1, then, sorry, yeah, then the cell becomes occupied, so then it's equal to 1, else that cell becomes 0. Alright, cool. And then we're just going to return cells. Let's see if it works for the custom test case. We should probably remove these after the first run. Yeah, so my standard out is 1 to 6, and there are 6 elements, 8 of them are there, so that makes sense. Let's just remove this. Now my answer is 0, 0. Ah, my answer is wrong. Okay, sure. So after the FD run, you know what, before here, so I'm just gonna print cells after FD run and see what we're doing wrong. I don't think it should be wrong though. Ah, okay, got it. So, the first day, it's screwing up the first day. So this shouldn't happen here. There anyway order of one operation, so I think that shouldn't be too much. I'll just update it at the end. Right. So this should work now. Oh, okay, that did not work. That's interesting. Um, right. We had that as the input. And the first day is 0 triple 1 0 1 double 0 0 triple 1. The third is not a 1 on day 1. Third cell is not a 1. Why did we convert this to 1? 0 in this one. Why did it say it was like that? What's even happening? Ah, okay, we're doing it in place. That is what is going wrong, because we are updating at the same time, and these updates in their case are happening later. So that's the problem. If we do it at the same time, it would become problematic. So if we are at cell of 1 and we change it, and then we check it for cell of 2, it will not take the old value, it would take the new one. So that's where we're going wrong here. So let me just fix this. So on each iteration, I'll create a O cells, which is just cells, a copy of the cells. And whenever we check, we're gonna check with the O cells, old cells, but we're setting in the new cells. Yeah, that should do the trick. This can come out though. I don't want to do it for each of the 7 iterations, that's just too much. And we also don't want this print statement anymore. Kind of certain this code should work. 0 0 1 1 and all zeros. Let's just submit it, see if it works. 10 to the power 9 generally does not work in Python though. Charging might get a TRE. Ah, okay, we did. Alright, so we're back in the beginning and we need to figure out how to make this work. So if it ever repeats, then we know it. But if it doesn't, then we are in a fix. Let's just think from the edge cases. Maybe if we have an array of all zeros, then all the middle ones are gonna become 1. Then on the let me just show it to you because that's more intuitive. So if we have a 0, you know what, I can just do it much better. I can have my code do it for us. So after each iteration, print cells. Sorry, after we do this too, here you print cells, and I'm just gonna give the input as all zeros. Might help us find a pattern, I'm not sure, and do it for say 20 iterations. Let's see what it gives us. Alright, so it turned everything into 1 in the middle. Then on the edges, it's parity 0 and 1 on either side, so they became zeros. Now the inner ones also became zeros, but these would become 1 now. So we have it there, and then these would become 0, but then and then okay, then we repeat. Yeah, yeah, then we're repeating. So rather than trying to find a solution ourselves, we can just hope that it would repeat in not too long a time, and we can just check how much time it takes to repeat and then do a mod of that length and give the solution. Yeah, I think we have a plan, but we can't introduce the starting iteration. But that should be okay. Yeah, right. That should be fine. All right. So we're gonna have, what are we gonna have? We're gonna have a dictionary. Yeah, sure. We're gonna have a memory, which is a dictionary, and whenever we're printing here, instead of printing, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the memory of um, we're gonna do it as an iteration, and memory of iteration. So zeroth iteration is day 1, just to be clear. Memory of iteration, we're gonna set that as cells, and we're gonna just do this so that we make a copy of it and there are no problems. And if memory of 0 is the current cells, then we're just gonna break, and what we're gonna return is not cells, but instead we're gonna return from the memory, and we're gonna return what? So it repeats in length of memory. So that's a dictionary, but it should give us the length of the number of keys. We can also do this, but I think that's unnecessary. Okay. No, let's just keep it like this, cleaner code. Now it repeats in that many iterations. We're just gonna print rep for debugging purposes. And we want to do something like this n mod rep, but I'm not too sure yet. So when it repeats after the 10th iteration, if it has 10 elements, and if it repeats after the 10th iteration, then we have 0 to 9, and our rep would be still 10, and 10 mod 10 is 0, and 11 mod 10 is 1. So I think it would work. Yeah, I think it should work. Let's run the code once. Alright, so it's a key error because of the first one. Okay, let's fix this. if memory and so if there exists any key. It repeats in 7. Is that true? Oh, okay, we don't have that code anymore. So let me just also remove this and okay, we do need it. We do need it. So let me just comment out these lines and print cells and see it once and then add them and see what happens. Alright, so also we have the expected answer and my answer. But we did something wrong because expected and ours are not the same. Okay, right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 should be right. Okay, rep is 20, that's why the problem, because of a commented code, nothing else. But rep is 7, which makes sense. So after 7, okay, yeah, this seems fine. Let me just remove this print statement, run it for this code, see if we get the right answer. Okay, the answer is wrong. That was a bummer indeed. Okay. It's not gonna work for the first iteration though. Yeah, it's gonna cause some troubles because if we have n as 1, we want it for day 1, not day 0. Not day 2, we'd give day 2. Okay, something's wrong. We're giving day 2, but we don't want to give day 2. We want to give day 1. We should probably do an n minus 1 because our 0th one is day 1. But would it still do everything else as planned? Yeah, I think it should. Yeah. Let's just run the code once and see if it works. Run the code. Yeah. 011001110. Okay, that worked. Submit and check. Judging. Ah, we got accepted. That's so cool. Thank you for sticking with me. I'm gonna do a quick recap and I'm also gonna go with the solutions and check it out. You would find the links below along with the link for this question and this code as well. I'm gonna put it on guest.github and add a link there. Thanks a lot for staying with the Think Out Loud session. See ya.